Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpack Trader Training Room for Thursday, May the 19th, 2022. Good morning, Miles. Please do say hello so I know who's in the room. And we have a potential trade on the on the YM. One closed below the balance line, and there's a potential short trade that did hit the entry, so at least I think it hit the entry, and now it definitely did now. So that getting sync on the short, and it's hit money management. So that, no, it hasn't hit money management, missing by a tick. But it just hit money management. So that's off the table, looking for the next trade. And the market opens in less than a minute. And there's market open. Actually, we had a get in sync there. Don't know if we got. Yep, it looks like that went too far. And there's a new trade right there. Five seconds to that bar. That trade, I would say, was to catch. So we're looking for a new trade there. The YM with a short hit money management, came back. It actually did hit target one. So that is a one and done session. It's a small trade. 15 ticks. At 15, I would probably have gone to target two. So we'll look for another trade. So that would have been just a straight break even, one tick. Soybeans off to the races on the pre-market trade that had definitely gone too far. The Russell coming out of the gate with a trade that was too fast to catch, just being a break even anyway. Okay, soybeans is out of its trade. It's looking for its first trade of the morning. Looking for another trade on the YM. Pound Aussie. This trade was just flat too small. You see money management at 12 pips down here below, 2 pips below target 4. Given a 3 pip spread, I'm not going to take a trade that's only getting 10 pips less spread. So would only net 7 pips on 4 positions. Would have gotten it, but I'm going to go ahead and work for this one. So we pick up 2 positions at target 2 for, I'm sorry, 3 positions at target 3 for 14 ticks, less spread, but 42 ticks and 42 pips and 2 pips on the trailer. And actually, that's probably about a 4 pip loss on the trailer. And 42 less 9, so probably 33, about 29 pips net after spread. So not a big morning, but still a POQ session. And here is our first trade on the YM. This is a diamond level SMA trade, 243. Looking for money management at, I believe it was, yes, 281. And there is a new long on soybeans. The short, in all likelihood, was avoidable, spiking right to the entry and then going back the other way. Just 4 seconds on the bar, so certainly avoidable there. So in the long, unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, whatever, but that's where we are. No trades after the initial break even on the Russell. I will come back to the energies here in a few minutes. And we did switch over to stopped and reversed into a short. From 319 on the YM. And that is looking to be in. Yeah, that's a full stop out. And Russell with a long trade there. 2, 4, 5, 6 seconds to money management. So that's unlikely to be tradable. Still in the long on soybeans. And a new short on the YM. 260, 266, 267 on the short. That did trigger in. And now an SMA long, stop and reverse at 293. And there's money management. And hey, taking a one tick break even stop. So we have stop and reverse, full stop, stop and reverse, break even. Not a good morning in the YM. The energies didn't treat, or at least the crude didn't treat us very well this morning either. And there is another SMA long at 321. That taking a full stop out and now back short at 284. The YM isn't sure what its direction is going to be. It looks to be in an uptrend, but there's money management and target one. 32 tick target. And that is the last trade of the morning. That's already trade number 6. Let's see if this last long was tradable. Nope, 2 seconds for the close of the bar and never came even close to getting back up to the entry. So this is just trade number 5. The short, SMA short, the blue trade, was definitely not tradable. Stop now at 251. Okay, that is a tradable trade. On the Russell, although looks like it's just going to be a barely made target 2, so that's going to be just a break. Actually, it's going to be a couple of tick loss around a major key level. All right, the YM stopping out at 226. So it can take one more trade there. And we'll look for that. And then talk about crude and unleaded. Take a quick look at NQ, micro NQ, catapult on the Renko chart, custom Renko or Unirenko on trades on NinjaTrader. Wait our 4 minutes. And that short is just before our start time. It hits both entry and stop on the same bar, so not tracked. That's very likely untradable full loss on the long. And the short gets us in and takes us to a full stop, unfortunately. Four seconds to the stop, so that's long is not tradable. The short 11, 1 second, still 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds down to here already. 8 seconds on the next bar. Hasn't hit money management, so can get into that trade. And reverses at 9:12 even. Okay, 7 seconds to this bar, which had the wick, so very likely to be able to get into that. Target 2, target 3, target 4. Big trailer, 39 tick fixed target, or 39 point fixed target. That's 156 ticks, still trailing and stopping out 940.50. That's a nice winner. And coming up with another long trade at the session high. That wick doesn't come back quite far enough to hit the entry, so I would say that's not tradable. And that monster trade, I would be sitting it out, I believe. Although we have and you got back and forth activity. And 12 seconds to get into the short. So if you're continuing to trade, it's like that got to money management, hit target 2, didn't start trailing, but you exit for a profit on the long. And the long gives you plenty of time to get in. Short doesn't trigger. We're in the long. Short cancels. And the new short and the long takes a full stop. So with one really big and another nice win, picking up a target two of 27 3/4 points. I think I would be done for the day with that kind of profitability, especially after the loss on the long then. And yeah, it gets noisy there for a little while before coming up with another big trade. And that brings us to current. Russell not doing particularly well. Another break-even trade there. There is our last YM trade. Excuse me. That looks like it possibly a target 1. Let's see if it got there. Yep, hit target 1 right on the nose. Only a 17-tick target, so that's a small enough target. I would probably be looking at target 2 on that trade anyway. So that's just a break even. A net losing session on the YM, but much less so after this nice short trade. All right, so let's go back. See where we went. We were in this long on soybeans. It meandered about and ultimately goes through all 3 targets. 10, 16, and 22. 48 ticks. That's 12 points. $600 on there, plus the trailing position goes to 84.75 from 81.0, so that's another 3 3/4 points. So 15 3/4 points, almost an $800 trade. It took a while to develop, but ultimately a one and done session. Okay, 9 a.m. start on the full crude contract. We were in an early trade that actually the trade set up right at our start time, but only 3 seconds to the first bar close and never came back to the entry. So that's definitely an untradeable trade. Then we pick up the long at 104.06, comes back for a stop and reverse at 103.92, and that comes to a stop and reverse exit at 104.13. Second loss, that officially ends the trade plan. Third trade would have gotten a target 1 of 30 or 20 ticks and a trailer of 13 to 18 of just 5 ticks. So 25 ticks on the third trade, mitigating some of the loss, but still would have been a losing session. Micro crude, similar. You have the 1 second after start time long, way too fast to trade. Short didn't trigger. You have a long that meanders about, and ultimately stops out and transitions to short at 103.84, which that goes directly back up to a full stop at 104.08, and two full losses definitely stops the trade plan. Third trade in that case would also have been a full loss. Losing sessions on crude this morning. And I will just kind of get us close for 10 a.m. session coming up in 10 minutes or so. Unleaded actually being fairly good to us this morning. We have a short that I would say is not tradable as it closes above the entry on a 2-second bar and never comes back down to the entry. So that is a full loss avoided. Then we have a long hits money management and target 1, but target 2 is your objective here. So picking up 1 tick break even on that trade. Then we wait and finally get a long at 46.66. It goes up to target 2 and trails to target 2, or within 1 tick maybe. 54 for the trailer, and target 2 is at 55. So yeah, within 1 tick. 89 ticks to the target, 88 on the trailer. So 177 ticks at $4.20 a tick. A very nice result on unleaded. Unfortunately, not matching up with our crude trades. Russell now seeming to trend downward, but just not able to get trade setups on the catapult there. Heating oil. I haven't even looked at this morning. Way back here at 9:30. Short doesn't trigger. Short just ticks in and back up. Probably avoidable, but could have been a full loss. Long. Six seconds, so, and then you come back down. Well, probably get into that, and it's a break-even stop out, so 1 tick, depending on number of positions. Short, possibly there's another full loss. Long, plenty of time to get in this one. Hitting target 3, and 1 tick on the trail. Another long with, that's just 2 seconds. That one's not tradable. 2 seconds to money management. And then a short, 7 seconds on the bar. Possibly tradable, possibly not. And that is a couple of tick loss on a major key level break-even trade. And we have a long setup. 4 seconds to target 1. And then that is money management. So that one's untradeable, which is a shame because that turns into a very nice, that turns into a huge trailer. But just too fast to catch. Okay, under 5 minutes to our 10 a.m. crude session. Break-even short trade, if tradable. Looks like money management on the same second, so that is most likely untradeable. We have a long setup now. I'll go ahead and mark that one up so we can see what's going on with it. We get a touch. Possible full stop. There's another short trade. 4 seconds to money management. That one's not tradable. And that's another nice trailer. Long setup, plenty of time to get in that one. And that's a break even, not quite getting to target 3. Touching short for a full stop. Just 3 seconds. That was definitely not tradable. Let's see how that should be. Balance of trades for heating oil this morning in 15 minutes. Let's see if we can quickly look at unleaded on Catapult. Go back to 845. There is our first trade. Yep, that's a break even. Break even trade there. The short looks like a full stop out. Not quite getting to money management. Another long. Okay, this long's 50. That's just 3 seconds. And that one is unlikely to be tradable. And that is a nice winning trade there, but untradable, just too fast. Short, 35, 4 seconds, another untradable trade. Long is a full stop out. 9 seconds on the bar, so most likely in that for the full stop. Short never triggers. Long looks like right at 9 o'clock, but 2 seconds to the first bar, to money, 2 seconds or so to money management. So another untradeable trade. Looks like unleaded on Catapult was just too fast for us this morning. Okay, that looks like that's 7 seconds to the close of that bar. That's very likely a tradable trade. Gets target and just a break even stop. No trade on the short. The long is a 2 seconds from set up to money management, so that one goes away. No trade there, and that's like the third nice trailer that we've missed because it was just too fast this morning. Really not looking at housing numbers. I don't believe that's a red label report anymore. And it is time for our morning session. 10 a.m. session is starting. And a filtered trade. That trade is filtered by the crossover filter. Look, crude. There is our short trade at 105.72. And that trade triggering in and going to stop almost immediately. Then there's a long at 106.01. And that trade triggers in. Taking some heat on the long trade. See if we can get up through that through the 50 and 200 to get to money management and target. And just a spike through the 50, but it's still not able to push up and close above it yet. And there's a close above the 50. That bodes well. And rejected again. And there is a close at the 200 and pushing beyond it, but no close yet. And there's a close above the 200. That bodes quite well and touching money management. So bring the stop to break even at actually 599. 0599 would be the money management until we actually hit our target. We'll leave a little bit of a cushion there. That puts us a couple of ticks below the 50 and below the 106 level. And stopping out and transitioning to short. And that went through too fast to catch, I would say. I didn't get my trade in fast enough to catch that short. But if you did, it has hit target one. And of course, money management. And stopping out for a tick. So that would be a POQ if you were able to get into that trade. If not, looking for trade number 2. On the session. We have a break even that was a couple of tick loss. Because of the major key level. And a short at 77. One close above the balance line. Looks like we'll definitely get the second close above the balance line at this point. So that is going to be a cancellation, and we close at the stop, the second close above the balance line, and we close at the stop. So definitely cancel the short. And waiting to see. And another short. I would say too quick to get it initially. Let's see if it comes back up and gives us another chance. At 88. And yep, it gives us another chance. So in the short at 88. and hitting money management. So bring your stops down. There's target 1. And target 2. So there's going to be your POQ trade. 2 targets, 13 and 20 ticks, 33 ticks, less the 2 we lost up here, or 4 actually. So 29 ticks on the morning, or on this session. And there's the stop. So done with the 10 a.m. session. Do we have questions? Not too many folks putting anything in. Let me know if there's anything else you want to look at this morning. And give it till about 10:15. See if there are questions or anything anybody wants to go over. You have a great weekend, Pamela? Sure. I actually have micro ES. So exchange time is Central Time. Of course, my timestamps are Eastern. So we have a short on the micro ES. Just triggers in, set up at 950. It spikes down through a little bit, comes back, and it's a full stop out at 10 on the 10 o'clock bar. So at 10:05, we're not in a trade session. We're looking for the next section at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. But it looks like quite a bit of movement this morning, pre-market and right after the open. Big downswing in the first 20 minutes, actually up and down. Now there's the opening, the bar that closed at the opening. Strong up move the first 10 minutes, and then next 10 minutes was a strong down move and then back up. So just back and forth 10 or 15 minutes at a time. So not something you easily worked with. Oh, okay, there we go. Never mind. Yeah, scaling is some pretty big moves. Actually, that was yesterday afternoon. Strong move down. In the evening, from about 6 Eastern to midnight to, oh no, actually that's 6 a.m. yesterday. Pretty much a down move all day yesterday to 5 p.m. and then just kind of meanders about, picks up gains some ground, and then heads back down, setting session lows by shortly before 6 a.m. this morning, and working in the just up to almost session open, and not much going on yet other than this one short trade that was a full stop out. So that's unfortunate on the 5-minute chart. But big moves. ES not one of the markets we do a lot with because it does present some unique challenges. It's a quarter point market, and given the large trade volumes, you pretty much have to trade through an order to get it filled. Did you want to look at DS on something other than the catapult 5-minute, Steve, or what were you looking at it with? Because because of what I was just mentioning. It's a quarter point tick market, and it's a $50 a point, so it's $12.50 a tick. And with the fact that you almost certainly have to trade through a price level to get filled, you have to deal with a lot of many cases where how do you deal with coming right to a target and pulling back? Do you mark it out if you don't get filled? If you lose a tick or two or three, that's $12.50 to $37.50 per contract. So it can be fairly expensive in that respect. And so it just creates a lot of difficulties in trying to trade it and trying to test it, get a valid test on it. Not necessarily larger slippage. There's enough volume, you'll probably get your price, but any slippage you do get, because it's a $12.50 tick, is you do have a fairly expensive if when you do get slippage. But then you also, as I say, you don't know if you're getting filled on targets as you're testing. If you come right to the target, if you trade through the target, you're going to get filled. But when you come right to an entry or a target, you don't know if you're going to get filled or not. You come to a stop, you may or may not get. If you come right to it and pull off of it, you may actually be lucky enough not to be filled, and it goes back the other way. But there's just too many variables to be able to tell in testing what's happening and what the true profitability of a strategy is. So it just creates a lot of questions, you're not able to really get good data on your testing. And the only real way to test it is forward testing, but you have the same issues with trying to test with in sim mode, because you still don't know for sure if you're going to get if the fills you're getting in sim are going to be what you get in live market. Oh, it's definitely less jiggy. And the NQ is one that it doesn't have the issues with having to trade through, but it's also a quarter point market, but it's only $5 a tick rather than $12.50 a tick. So that's one of the reasons that we don't typically do a lot with the NQ is Troy just does not particularly like the quarter point tick markets. Soybeans is kind of the exception. It's actually a $12.50 a tick market as well, and a quarter point. But it's a little bit more thinly traded, and so you don't get the have to trade through issues. You're more likely to get fills when you just touch an entry or target. Slippage can be a little difficult, but it's not as big a moving market either, although it can get on some very nice runs. And the energies in the YM is a full point market, so it's fairly simple to follow. You can use key levels easily. It doesn't have the issues with having to trade through. The energies for our purposes, especially in the room, give us lots of lots of example trades to work with. They're also typically fairly profitable. They tend to be solid trade plans that are profitable week in, week out, month in, month out. This week, it's crude has been a little bit difficult, but you're going to have that with any market. You're going to get times when your strategy just isn't in sync with the market. All right, let's see where we are. Yeah, we're not into our window yet, so this is a get in sync possibility on the micro ES long. So we've got about 8 minutes before our trade plan mini session starts. Yeah, that's what I'm trading right now too, Steve, is micro crude. And yes, it's been very tough this week. Just possibly just because of the slightly lower volume, it tends to be a bit more jittery than the full crude. But there are also days that it does better than the full crude, so you never know. Now the micro ES is not quite as bad expense-wise because you're only dealing with $5 a point, so $1.25 a tick rather than $12.50. And you can it also gets you into a position where you can trade multiple positions to different targets and or trail more easily with a little bit less capital. But I suspect you still end up with a lot of the same. Yeah, they'll definitely diverge from time. They won't go very far, but you'll see. What I'm seeing is they don't diverge so much as you just get a little bit more back and forth in micro crude, so you get some different trades. It doesn't take as much to move it back and forth. Because it's running at about half the volume. It's got plenty of volume to trade with, no question about that. But it's running, roughly when I looked at it, it's running roughly half the volume that the full crude contract is. But as far as the actual the overall average kind of pricing between micro crude and full crude, it stays pretty close. The charts will look a little different because you get some back and forth, a little bit more back and forth in micro crude than you do in the full crude. Okay, looks like the micro ES starting to pull back now, coming into the 1030 bar close. So they definitely have a get in sync possibility coming up here in about 3 minutes. In a little less than 3. Yeah, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, I'm not going to try to stick around and follow the micro ES. 5-minute charts are notoriously slow, which is one of the reasons we don't use many of them here in the room. And basically, they don't have any relation to the price action. You see price action in the time frame, but the bars themselves don't have any relation to the price action, so they're not as indicative of where price might be going. If you look back, you can see some big bars as you go along on the 5-minute. Yeah, but you saw how big the bars in the 5 minutes, each of those 5 minute bars were in this opening half hour. And bars are getting a little smaller, but actually doing some pulling back. And now we're in the 9:30 central session. So 39.14 even would be a valid trade entry. $20,000 account would be just 2 contracts. That's a big trade. That's a big bar setup. And it has triggered in, so that's why it is still valid. Because it looks like we're going to get a cross below, or across of the cat lines on this 10:35 bar. That's going to be another 4 minutes roughly. It's rolled over 31. So if we get it down close here, we're going to get a short setup, because the low of the bar is well below the 14 EMA. And you notice the crossover in process right here. But now moving up, so I have to see if it continues this way. But if you look at the morning, while it's a fairly large range, it seems to be somewhat range bound, and not wanting to. Looks like there's definitely some fairly strong resistance at the session open at 39.16. It's poked through that a couple of times, but nothing's closed above it yet. All right, other questions this morning? Looks like we're down to just six still watching. So I believe I'm going to call it a week and wish everybody a wonderful Thursday afternoon, good trading on Friday, and have a good weekend. We'll see everybody on Monday. Troy will be back Monday in his usual time slot at 9:30 on Monday. You're most welcome, Steve. I'm kind of curious whether we get the entry into the long, or we get a short here. And it does close up, so no short setup. All right, it's going to be a little while either way. So I'm going to shut it down for today, and everybody have a wonderful weekend.